Hi folks, this is Dino Bob back in Vembre Park, and this time I'm tackling an animal intended from the beginning and getting back into Asia, Tarbosaurus. And there's our star right now. Yes, he thinks he's in charge of the place, I guess. Anyway, I did a lot of terrain work on this one, setting it up. And you can see a lot of rock work in there as well. You see the frame for the care building. This is set up to be two full-size single Tarbosaurus exhibits. I know from the card set originally, Tarbosaurus was I think 2 to 3 animals. But a lot of zoos often have to keep their males separate from their females for a lot of the year. And so that's the idea behind the split exhibit. I had set up a set of pieces to do this mostly round building. And you can see my duplicating it and going by the angles and then picking the one that aimed back at the outside of the exhibit to be the way the guests would get in and opening it up so that it has sort of an entrance area feel that will end up getting adjusted multiple times through this build. And then I widened the pieces there for the bridge and started taking out the pieces that were superfluous. All that duplication meant I had a lot of pieces up for these little arches. And looking at what it had ended up, I decided that basically a pentagon was what the shape was going to be on this upper part. And the side toward the bridge was going to be a solid wall. And you can see me turning around the columns so that they're not all the same. And that's where the information screens will go. One to greet the guests coming across the bridge, and there will be one on the inside as well. I spent a lot of time taking floor pieces out to cut down on the Z fighting. And even with what's left, I had to select a few and change their Z axis a little bit to have them stop fighting. The posts I had put in to be in place after I spun everything around, of course, don't come out at the right angle to be sitting between two adjacent wall pieces. So you saw me adjusting all of those. And a similar kind of thing with these base pieces. Having seen how they ended up lining up, I decided they needed their own posts that would cover that unfortunate mismatch between angles on those pieces. And you see them going into place in this sequence. Also, as I was building this, I noticed what was going on underneath the bridge, and pretty much that wall is going to have to go away because we've got to get the guests down there to this animal level viewing area. And that took a lot of fussing too, and everything in this exhibit took a lot of fussing, which is why you're seeing only chunks of the speed build and why you're not even seeing all the pieces of it. You can see the stairs are already in, for example, in this case, and now I'm working on enclosing them. And ultimately, if you caught that, opening up the platform up above so that guests can actually get to the stairs. It's really great in this game that there are stair pieces like this to build stairways and that the guests will use them. I know that devs have said they eventually want to have the paths be able to change elevation as part of the pathing system. And that hasn't happened yet, and I don't think the path system upgrades are going to come out for a while yet. Once I did get the entrance to the stairway in, I saw that there wasn't a lot of space for guests to get through. So I needed to widen the bridge so that I can still get people up to the upper platform. so that they have to look down into the exhibit rather than the ground level look up at the Tyrannosaur. Having seen the necessary pieces to hide the stairway and what they would look like, I decided I would match it sort of on the other side to create sort of a sharp arch there to support the platform and such. And then what I first did it didn't look like I had enough weight to do that job, so I beefed that up a little bit. And you probably spotted that I didn't cover the bottom of the stairs, and it's staying that way because it's going to be really hard to get the camera down there. So I figured I wouldn't bother. I played around once that was all in place with the height of the pentagon, and fiddled with that. You know, I haven't roofed anything yet or put walls and stuff, and I decided before I did that I'd work at finishing out the rock work around this platform. We do a little bit of an aerial look at what's above there, and then you saw the finished one in the background because I jumped to the secondary viewing area here, which is also at upper level, looking into it. And I think this one will actually end up providing a better look to the upper part of the exhibit than the roundhouse. I changed my mind several times during the course of building this structure, but that's how it goes sometimes. Obviously, I started with the platform, so I understood where the guests would be able to go, and then built walls around it. And now you see me trying to explain how the building kind of floats out there over the rocks by putting in some girder work. And that will need some more support that I'll put in a bit. And then also playing with how I would close off the windows, finish off the windows actually, to make it look a little less stark with that solid brick, and duplicating that whole unit and then taking out pieces I didn't need or adjusting sizes rather than placing individual components every window opening. So I put 2 information signs inside, a couple of benches, a couple of trash cans, and then bring in a little decorative motif because that wall was just still looking a little too stark. Working with the tile roofs, that is a running theme for the Asian area in this park, and trimming them out and remembering to add those cap pieces that showed up in the last update. Makes the pieces look better and blends them in with the prefab roof versions that have multiple slopes, either just the simple straight run section or the hip roof ends, all come with their own roof caps, and looks kind of lame if the rest of your roof doesn't have those. Having built the structure, I decided to do some decoration and build a mural. Of course, that is Tyrannosaurus Rex on the wall, and a little beefier than the Tarbosaurus, but he's the best I've got for the moment. And there is landscaping going in, because that was also a part of making this, kind of blocking the views into the exhibit unless you go into the building kind of thing. And it's amazing how setting your structures into the landscape just make them look so much better and more finished. I don't know if I'm 100% happy with this building. I'm not sure the theme works as well as I hoped it would. So perhaps in the future I would revisit that and change it. As you can see, I obviously decided just the dinosaur itself was not enough to make this look interesting as a mural. So started putting in plants and stuff, and then ultimately decided it's all too silhouette-y and stark, and there's not enough contrast in various places. So some color changes, and it looks a little bit more like a painting when those color changes are completed, and ups the interest. So it is what it is. So we're coming up on the end of the speed build, I think, with the last bit of landscaping there. And that's an overview shot of the whole exhibit. You can see the upper part, the elevation changes quite a bit. And I think we've got the female out there right now. And a little bit of a cinematic walkthrough of this exhibit, bumping into walls, as I so often do. And we've got the binoculars for the guests so that they can look out into the exhibit and give you a sense of what that space is going to be. It looks a little stark right now, but that will change. You know, these kind of places need space for guests. And this is the roundhouse. You can see it's a lot more round now, now that it's got its roofage. So we'll take a walk inside. I wanted to pick up more of the Asian architecture theme on this. It's less obvious in the other building. So you see this little glassed-in walkway where guests can see into the exhibit, but it's mostly intended to be a transit. And you can see the secondary viewpoint from here. So we'll go out to the roundhouse, get ourselves a little bit oriented. There's benches in here now, and the roof, obviously, and view screen on the inside as well. Oops, didn't mean to walk into that ceiling. I see our Tarbosaurus out there. Nice view of the volcano from here as well. So let's just teleport downstairs. And for some reason my video screwed up, so you didn't get a lot of good look at the views from down there. Sorry about that. So it's time for our cinematics for this video. And starting with our male Tarbosaurus finishing his little drink. I had said at the beginning of this zoo that part of my goal was to use some of the animals I don't use that much, and Tarbosaurus is one of them. I hope when the devs correct their animations that they'll do something about the fact that the animals that do that little rollover tend to stick their heads into whatever substrate they're on or whatever rocks they're on. But having done that, he looks like he's reasonably satisfied with the results, so I guess that's okay. We've got some shots coming up of the female as well. As I said before, she's in the back exhibit, which is mostly only visible at a distance from the binoculars for the guests. Of course, anyone touring the zoo as it is a game can of course fly out there and check it out. And this is actually the female up in the upper area. She's by one of the water holes up there, and didn't always manage to get her catch her doing interesting stuff. But she's got the usual roar somewhere in that set of animations. It comes up a lot because I think everybody expects it from the Jurassic Park Rex. So here's another bit of the overview. You can see how I elevated terrain quite a bit, did my best to blend it so the mountains in the distance look further away, more like distant mountains, as opposed to these things that just erupt out of the ground at the edge of the building area. So we're going to fly out to the upper area so you get a sense of that as I'm closing out here. So if you like this video, please drop a like, make a comment, let me know what you think, and I will be back with more videos, even if you don't. It would be nice. Subscribe if you like these sort of things, and I'll see you all in another video. You all take care, be kind to each other, And just stay well out there, okay? Dino Bob, signing out.